Wow. Wow, 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 wow. Wow.
God save the Commonwealth of Massachusetts.
That was crazy. Oh my God. Like, somebody give me a Xanax. I don't do drugs, so that would never happen, but that's how it felt. I felt like I needed a Xanax after watching that testimony. Holy crap. Oh my God. So I'm doing a show later tonight with my sister, and I'm very excited about it. And I'm trying to get her to join me for my first live later on this week. And don't worry, we're trying to find a time where it won't conflict with all the other amazing content creators that we do not want to step on anybody's toes of. So we're very aware of that. But I couldn't wait. Like, I'm freaking out. I'm sitting here like that was nuts. Dr. Wolf is my hero.
I don't know if I understand your question.
I don't know if anybody on the planet could have handled Hank Brennan's non-stop assault with as much grace and as much integrity as that man just did. Like, those two men deserve an award for being just amazing human beings. Like, now I'm starting to think maybe they are telepathic. Whoa. There was one moment in particular that I have to play. And I don't want to spoil it. I'm going to be reviewing this in a lot more detail later tonight. But there was one moment where Hank Brennan thinks he's got Dr. Wolf. He thinks he's got him, right? These guys are so good. They're such goody two-shoes that Hank Brennan cannot find a way to make them look bad. He cannot find a way to discredit them. He's trying. He's doing everything in his power to try to get these guys thrown out because he knows he does not want them to testify. He will do anything he can to try to prevent these two men from testifying in this trial. And in the end, Judge Bev basically gave us she gave us the answer. Let's hope. But she gave us the answer by turning to Dr. Rentschler and saying, "Could you have the report for me before May 7th?
All right. Can you get that report and everything completed before the 7th? If I order you to do so?
If you order me to do so, I mean, I could certainly try and expedite it. Yeah.
All right. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. You're all set, sir.
Thank you, Your Honor.
And he's like, yeah, I get, like, yeah, if you make me, So it looks like they're going to have the reports done, and it looks like they are going to be able to testify, and they will be able to testify. Hopefully, they will be able to testify to whatever ridiculous accident reconstructionist, I can talk, that the Commonwealth is going to try to throw at them.
Call was probably a handful of times.
When you say if what you recall, are you purposely being vague in case there's records?
Here's what I want to say here.
As you mentioned, it doesn't keep a log of it.
All right. So I want you to notice the badgering, and I want you to keep track of that. Because notice what Judge Bev does when the defense starts to behave like this. Doesn't matter who the witness is. Notice how she treats them. When the defense starts to treat witnesses like this, and watch what she's doing to Daniel Wolf. It is disgusting. It is crooked. It is dishonest. These people are deplorable human beings, what they're doing. But you know what? Daniel Wolf is so much better than them that he just hangs in there and he rises above it. He rises above it. He's my hero today. Daniel Wolf, you are a hero today. I hope you know that.
So I just don't recall.
Watch this.
Dear, in the last trial, did you have an agreement with any entity that was going to pay for your costs?
No, sir.
So you
Look
had
at this-
no agreement
look at
that you
him.
were going to be refunded
Look
or
at his face.
compensated for your costs?
No.
Did you
No.
have any agreement that you were going to be compensated for your time?
No.
Tell me, did you think that the defense was going to compensate you for the cost of you coming out here?
I had no idea who was ultimately going to pay the invoice, if an invoice was even sent.
Did you think that you were coming out here to testify for free?
Again, I don't know who was going to pay the bill. I'm not...
That's not what I'm asking you. I want to know, after having these conversations with the defense, and they asked you to come out here, did you expect to be compensated for your time?
Again, I'm a salaried employee, so it doesn't matter to me. I'm sure my boss would
I'm
like
a
us to get
salaried
paid,
employee.
but no,
I don't
did
care
not
who
know ultimately
gets
who
paid.
would pay an invoice if an invoice was sent after the trial.
Well, you were keeping track of your billing, weren't you?
I was keeping track of my time, yes.
And you kept track of your costs, didn't you?
The company does that, yes.
Did you?
Again, I enter my time so that the company can keep track of my time, yes.
When you came out here and made travel arrangements, did you have any conversations with anybody from the defense?
About the travel arrangements?
Yes.
Yes.
And as far as the travel arrangements, who on the defense was trying to help you with travel arrangements?
I believe it was Mr. Jackson.
Was there other people, associates, colleagues that were helping you as well?
None that I had direct communication with. I don't know if he communicated with others after that.
Was there a person named Kat? You ever hear that name before?
I believe that, yeah, she may have escorted me into the courtroom, I think.
Well, you don't believe, because that's a pretty
Oh, you don't
particular name. So when
believe.
you use words like
Look
you
at him.
believe, you know. You know. So, did you meet a person by the name of
You know.
Kat?
Objection, Your Honor.
I'll allow it.
I'll allow it.
I think
She
when I
will.
arrived here, yes.
Well, without qualification, the simple question is, you've met Kat, haven't you?
I think I met her, it was either at the voir dire day or the trial day, yes.
Now, does Kat work for the defense?
I have no idea who she is.
Well, how did you know who she was? Well, how was the introduction? How did that go down?
I just mentioned, I think she escorted me here to the courtroom.
Escorted you from where?
I think I drove here and I arrived, I believe, in the church parking lot across the street, and I think she walked me over, and then ultimately when I was done, I think she walked me back to the lot.
Do you have conversations with anybody for the defense about how you get here and why it is in particular you would park at the church parking lot?
Because I had no idea where to go.
But who told you where to go?
Like I mentioned, I communicated with Mr. Jackson, who provided that information to me.
And did you have any significance about the church parking lot?
It's
Did
just
that mean anything to you?
ridiculous. Look at
No,
this.
it just indicated, I think, that they had reserved it, and it was a spot that I could park my vehicle.
Okay. And when you got there, did you meet with anybody from the defense?
Do you see how ridiculous this is?
I can't recall if they were standing out there and we walked in together. I don't recall.
Well, I'm asking you.
You see it like you would think that this guy is about to say at any moment you're expecting this big bombshell, like this guy is about to reveal that the defense in the parking lot of the church paid him $70,000 cash, and it never comes. It just makes Hank Brennan look like a fool. And if you weren't sure yesterday, oh boy, are you sure today? Like, how dare you treat these people like this? He's just such a
Met
scumbag.
them, not whether you walked in together. I'll ask it again. When you arrived after these plans were
Listen,
made, did you meet with the defense before you came into court?
On the voir dire day, I don't believe, I can't recall if the defense was out there. I think on the day of trial, I think I met Mr. Jackson and maybe a couple of other members of the defense team.
Well, when you say you think, this was a pretty remarkable event coming to this trial, wasn't it?
Objection, Your Honor.
I'll allow it.
It's a pretty remarkable event. This
I'll allow it. Of course you will.
the best questions and answers.
Oh, here it is. Here it is. This is so good. Watch. Here it is.
Further conversations with Attorney Jackson.
He thinks he's going to get
After
him.
the voir dire?
Yeah.
Yes.
And did you talk about the case?
No, sir.
You had
Watch.
to testify, or you came and you testified on the 24th?
That sounds right.
You had a number of phone calls before the 24th.
It's so
You had
good.
a series of phone calls on the 17th, Two on the 18th,
He just
two
thinks
on the
he's going to
19th.
get this
Do you know
guy
what
in a
any of those
lie,
were
and they
about?
just don't lie.
I think it was about the logistics of arriving here, because I know that I was going to, as opposed to driving, I know I was going to fly in this time.
Okay, how about the 21st and 23rd? There's a call on the 21st and two on the 23rd. Did you talk about the case?
No.
No. No, I
And
never
so when
talked about the case.
You came into trial to
Watch.
testify,
Come
you were
on.
just relying on the opinions you had already provided in the past?
That were written in the February 12th report of
Yeah.
2024?
Yeah.
Yes.
And you had not talked about the case with Attorney Jackson or any member of this team?
No, it was all in the report, and that's ultimately what I testified exactly to at the time of trial in the voir dire, sir.
And you did not talk to Attorney Jackson or anybody else about the case?
No, sir.
Watch.
May I approach?
Yes.
Watch. He thinks he's going to get him. It's just so great. It's just so good. Watch.
Yes.
From you to who?
To Mr. Jackson.
Okay. And
Watch.
what's it labeled as?
Wolf Direct.
And that's before you testified on trial 24?
It's at 6 p.m. the night before I testified, yes.
So it's before you testified.
Yes.
Look at Hank thinks he's got him.
You recognize that one?
Yes.
What's that?
That is the attachment to the email.
Okay. You recognize reading that?
Yes.
Do you recognize discussing the case before you testified on June 24th, 2024?
I never discussed this with him. This is something that I sent to him, that I did on my own, and that I sent to him. But he never asked this of me, and we never discussed it.
So you sent him what you thought would be the best questions and answers.
I thought he had him. He doesn't. It's great.
So this is something I routinely do when I work with attorneys, okay? I prepare this on my own
Hank's
to
shaking
prep
his head.
myself
No.
and prepare for trial.
No.
That, please.
No, hear it again.
Email.
No, wait. Watch, Hank. Watch. Hear it again. This is great.
You had a number of phone calls before the 24th. You had a
Thinks
series
he's
of phone
got him.
calls
He
on the
thinks he's
17th.
got him. It's just
Two
so
on the
great.
18th, two on the...
Watch.
And that's before you testified on trial 24.
It's at 6 p.m. the night before I testified, yes.
So it's before you testified.
Yes.
Okay.
Watch, Hank.
Let me show you this document. Do you recognize that one?
Yes.
What's that?
That is the attachment to the email.
Okay. You recognize reading that?
Yes.
Do you recognize discussing the case before you testified on June 24th, 2024?
I never discussed this with him. This is something that I sent to him, that I did on my own, and that I sent to him. But he never asked this of me, and we never discussed it.
So you sent him what you thought would be the best questions and answers for him to ask you when you testified?
So this is something I routinely do when I work with attorneys, okay? I prepare this on my own to prep myself and prepare for trial.
That, please. There's an email with a document I'd like to attach this as an exhibit.
Okay. Exhibit 1.
Can I just point something out? This is creepy. This isn't funny. I'm going to point something out.
So
This isn't funny. I want you to watch this very carefully, guys. Very carefully. Watch Hank Brennan when Daniel Wolf explains, no, this is something I did on my own. I did not discuss this with the defense. Look at Hank Brennan. Look up at Beverly Cannoni and start to shake his head. It is very creepy. I want you to watch it carefully. Watch the look between these two. Really watch it carefully. Okay, here we go. Watch. Okay, ready? Now watch him and the judge. This is disgusting. I'm warning you.
When you testified.
So this is something I routinely do when I work with attorneys, okay? I prepare this on my own to prep myself
You
and prepare
see
for
that?
trial.
That, please.
Did you see him shaking his head while he looked at the judge and she got pissed off, put on her
Okay.
glasses and looked down? Did you see that?
Exhibit 1.
Watch it again.
So this is something I routinely do when I work with attorneys, okay? I
see that
prepare
head
this
nod?
on my own to prep myself and prepare for trial.
That, please.
What was
There's an
that, you
email with
guys?
A document I'd like to attach this as an exhibit.
Okay.
What was that?
Exhibit 1.
Wow.
1.
Wow.
So you assisted the defense before your testimony.
Hold on.
Oh, and this gets better now. It gets better from here. Because now he starts talking about helping the jury. I love this man. I really love him. Can I talk about how much I love Daniel Wolf?
Thank you. So you assisted the defense in anticipation of your testimony by sharing with them the questions and answers you thought would be most helpful.
Again, as I mentioned, this is something that I do internally to prepare. I sent that to him the evening before I testified at 6 p.m. I presume that he already had his direct examination done at that point. So I sent that to him, yes.
That's a lot of answers other than the one for my question. The one for my question
Hold the comments, please.
my question was, you had communications offering information to the defense before you testified in a way that you thought would help the testimony, didn't you?
Well, first off, I have no idea if he even read it or utilized anything from it.
But that's not really answering the question I just asked, is it?
Can you repeat the question?
Of course I can. So when you
can't
sent
get 'em.
a direct
you
examination
guys.
to Attorney Jackson before your testimony, you communicated with Attorney Jackson providing information that you thought would best help your testimony in court.
Well, I think ultimately it's to help the jury understand my report and my analysis.
Do you think it's helpful not answering the question and just diverting every time I ask you something? Do you think that's helpful? Do you want to answer my question or do you want me to move on?
I think I answered your question.
I don't think you did, so I'll ask it one more time.
Objection, Your Honor.
All right, no comments, please.
Do you think that providing a direct examination to the defense before you testified is in any way assisting preparing for your testimony?
Again, I don't know if he even utilized it, sir. And certainly if the Commonwealth had reached out, they could have gotten a copy of that as well. It would have been the
Could have
same
used
exact
it
outline
too.
whether I testified
I would
on
have
behalf
done
of
the
the
same
defense
thing.
or behalf of the Commonwealth.
You don't want to answer my question?
Objection, Your Honor.
Abstained.
Did you ever make any comments or
Alan
discuss
Jackson.
the outline that you provided to the defense to help better the testimony for the defense?
I did put comments, yes.
When I just showed you that document and you said you just sent it because this is a standard thing, why didn't you just tell us that you made comments that would assist the defense? Why didn't you share that when I just asked the question?
I don't understand your
You
question.
don't understand my question. I asked you about the outline, the direct examination you provided to the defense, and you gave me a response that this is something typical, but it's just an outline. You wouldn't answer whether it would help the defense or not, but the reality is you were assisting the defense, isn't it?
Objection, Your
I'm
Honor.
going to allow that.
You were making suggestions to help the defense, weren't you?
Sir, it wasn't to help the defense. It wasn't to help anyone but the jury understand things. As I just mentioned, that outline, if it was asked if I had sent one to the Commonwealth, you would have gotten the exact same copy.
You didn't send one to the Commonwealth.
The Commonwealth never reached out to us, sir.
So what you said in this is there was a question about,
Surprise, surprise.
so not being able to inspect the vehicle is something that is not uncommon in your line of work, and you wrote back, absolutely not, correct?
Correct.
And you made a comment to assist the jury, according to you, only to assist the jury. Not sure if you want to put this somewhere in the direct examination. I have a feeling they are going to argue I didn't personally inspect the vehicles. I had enough information from the material I reviewed, so it wasn't necessary. Need to show jury it doesn't matter in this case. Were those your comments to the defense before your testimony?
Absolutely. And it would have been the same argument probably from the defense if you had called me a witness about not being able to inspect the vehicle. I wanted the jury to have an understand that for the analysis I undertook, it did not matter that I did not physically inspect the vehicle, sir.
So when you're telling us here, under oath, before this court, that you did nothing to assist the defense, you do not think that you making these suggestions on how to better the testimony for the defense, you don't think that's helping the
ridiculous.
defense?
No.
Okay. You said, not sure if you want to put this somewhere in the direct examination. So you're making suggestions to the defense about what you think could be helpful in the direct examination, correct?
Sir, there were never any conversations between me and Mr. Jackson about what questions to ask, what not to ask. Again, I prepared that internally on my behalf and sent that to him. Whether he utilized it or not, I have no idea.
Not my question. Not my question. What I'm asking you is when you wrote and offered, unsolicited according to you, to the defense, not sure if you want to put this somewhere in the direct examination, weren't you trying to help, sir?
I don't believe so, no.
Respect the vehicle.
That's routinely raised when I testify about. It did not matter for my analysis, sir. I wanted to make sure the jury understood that.
Don't
All
hide
right,
behind the
I'm
jury.
going to
I'm talking
stop
about your
because
communication.
I'm going to be we're doing a whole thing on this. All right. I'm doing a whole show later on tonight with my sister about this, so I don't want to do any more. You get the idea. I think that Hank Brennan was very sure that he was going to stumble upon something very nefarious between the defense and Arcca. And I'm so glad that they came in because it made him look like a fool. And it made Arcca seem like two of the most credible human beings the world has ever seen. So all this little charade did was make it, number one, impossible for the judge to keep them out because she put them through hell. She unfairly, with every bias in the world, put them through hell so that Brennan could try to expose some kind of corruption. And you know what? It failed. It failed miserably. And we just saw, she just let her true freak flag fly. We just saw from Beb, the little head nod from Hank.
So this is something I routinely do when I work with attorneys, okay? I prepare this.
They thought this was their moment. They thought this was for sure. They were going to get rid of him. They were going to get rid of these two by pulling this little stunt, by getting all the text messages in. And turns out it was as lily white above board as it could ever get. And these two are like two of the world's greatest witnesses. So go ahead, Hank. Throw whatever you got at them. You will not shake them. But you better be careful because here in this courtroom today, we just saw that little exchange between you and your friend, the judge over there. But somebody somewhere is going to see the way the two of you are canoodling at each other in court today. And you just better hope that there is no evidence of whatever collusion is going on between the two of you, because God help all of you if somebody like the feds happen to scratch at whatever bullshit is going on here. This is a charade, and the whole world is watching. So once again, A+ effort by Hank Brennan, who is single-handedly destroying his career. Excellent job by you, Hank. Excellent job. Keep it up. Keep it up. A+. A+. We'll see you later.
God save the Commonwealth of Massachusetts.
God save the Commonwealth. My God.
I live inside my own world of make-believe. Kids screaming in the cradles, profanities. I see the world through eyes covered in ink and bleach. Cross out the ones who heard my cries and watched me weep. I love everything.